All right, welcome back, Texans Junkies, episode 2. We had a sensational first episode, really a lot of thrilling conversational points. I'm Mark with Nathan, of course, and really quiet week. Nothing much to talk about, except half the roster is different. So, other than that, though, we could probably just end the show. But I guess we'll stop and talk about everything that's happened over the course of free agency so far, re-signings, people we lost, and more importantly, and most in volume is people that we gained so far. So we're going to dive right into that. Basically, Nathan, I'm going to hand it off to you because you took the liberty of making a list of all the free agents that we've gained while I was recovering from vacation. So go ahead and get us started.
All right, guys. Today we're going to talk about our free agency from this week. It's been a really eventful week for Texans fans. At least for me, first day I was down. I texted Mark, said that this wasn't going to be like I had a bad feeling. I did have a bad feeling about the whole Saquon situation. Unfortunately, we didn't get him, but fortunately, we're not stuck with an almost $50 million deal. A lot of that was incentives, but it was a really expensive contract, and I'm glad with who we got. So, without further ado, guys, I think we should get right into who we got this week. I'm super excited for this season. And like I was saying, Monday wasn't great, but man, in Casario we trust. That man is flipping the page. Day 2 was, oh man, Casario knows what he's doing. I'll never question him again. I mean, that's true.
The Texans fans in the subreddit and in Instagram comments all throughout sports pages, it was like a roller coaster of emotions the whole time. Like day one, as linebackers like fell off the board, people were panicking, and then now they're like, "Oh, Casario!" Like I never doubted him for a second. So yeah, go ahead and start us off, man.
All right, guys. So first
person
on the list is Del'Shawn Phillips. I believe he was our Wednesday pickup. He might have been our day 2 pickup. It doesn't really matter. So he played 17 games this year. I heard that he's a special teams guy, which is good. We have one of the better special teams in the league. We are a very good special teams unit. He played 17 games this year, which the best ability in football is
ability, as John Hickman would say.
Availability. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, availability. My bad.
Shout out to John Hickman, Locked On Texans. 17 games played, that's awesome. You know, we need guys like that. We need depth. As every Texans fan knows, depth was everything this year. We were nothing this year without the guys, the next man up guys. You know, they talked about it all the time. Those guys really helped us out a lot. So picking up a guy like this, he had 24 total tackles and 1 forced fumble. Stats don't look great, but he's not a starter. I mean, he played for the Ravens. That's Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith we're talking about. This guy's a linebacker. He was playing behind the league's best. I mean, probably the best linebacking room in the league, I would say. Not anymore, obviously. Patrick Queen went to the Steelers day 3. So, you know, they lost a guy. But those are really, really good linebackers, and he played behind them. Not much to talk about with his stats. You know, I think he's just a good depth guy, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to the team.
I'm thinking that he will replace Steven Sims, though, because he's a free agent, and we have not re-signed him. So that could be one of the reasons behind it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. The next guy, Mark, I don't want to sit here and act like I'm some sort of expert on all these players. I don't know who David Sharp is. When we signed him, I did do a little bit of research. He played 8 games last year. He actually is not that available. Like, he is pretty injury prone. He doesn't play a lot of games. He spent last year with the Panthers. He's a swing tackle. As we know, George Fant left us. That's another guy that left.
Did he get signed, or is he just a free agent still?
Seahawks. He went back home.
Oh, nice.
So happy for him. He got a good deal. But we're going to have to replace him, and I think David Sharp is one of the guys that they're looking to replace him with. Obviously, O-line was in shambles in the beginning of the year. It was terrible. As a Texans fan, it just completely fell apart. And George Fant, man, salute to that guy, man. He was awesome with us. I'm glad he got a good deal. He's in the back end of his career.
He was crucial.
He needs that money. So
Yeah.
good luck to him in Seattle. David Sharp is a good pickup, good depth. Hopefully he can stay healthy. You have anything to say about David or no?
I mean, dude, at the beginning of the year, I was praising the O-line coaches and I was cursing the conditioning staff because we just couldn't stay healthy. But man, they did a great job. So we're gonna miss George Fant. I'm glad he's with the other Fant, Noah, up in Seattle. But hopefully David Sharp can kind of be a cheaper version of him and still sort of fill that role and be dependable. So.
Okay, so our next one, maybe the best pickup of the free agency so far. As we know, Cameron Johnson didn't re-sign. I don't think he was extended an offer. I'm glad we got Kymie back. Cameron Johnson was really good. He was statistically better than Tommy last year, but let's not forget who Tommy Townsend is. He was an All-Pro in 2022, and he was a Pro Bowler. The dude's a beast. He can flip a field. I don't want to say that I don't think we gained anything necessarily. I want to say we kind of broke even on this because the way I've seen this free agency go so far is they're trying to replace each position and upgrade, which is what you should do in every offseason. But Cameron Johnson leaving, Tommy Townsend is a really, really good replacement. I mean, you can't go wrong with an All-Pro last year. So, Mark?
Yeah, I agree. Solid replacement. I like Cam Johnson a lot, aka Bill Burr, but I feel like he left a lot to be desired. He was with us last year, Cameron Johnson, and he was doing great. But this year, man, he had a couple of punts where the ball just wasn't traveling as well and the hang time wasn't there. And he made, you'll remember his name, but he was with us and he went to the Titans. What's his name? Punter.
Tyler Zentner.
Yes, thank you, Tyler Zentner. That dude was balling, and he played better than Cameron Johnson. I would argue when I saw him this year. So I think an upgrade was necessary, and as long as we keep the most important special teams guy, Kymie, I'm cool with it. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Casario, good pickup. I like the Tommy Townsend pickup for sure. Our next guy, I think we both have opinions on this one. Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited about this one. I think he was a very good. He's like a lottery ticket, man. It's low reward, low risk, high reward. And with the Lions, obviously he was underwhelming. I believe he went to the Dolphins after that, if I'm not mistaken. Dolphins. Falcons. My bad. He went to the Falcons after that, and I'm hoping that D'Amico can work his magic and kind of figure out what Okudah's strengths are, which, if I'm not mistaken, he's better in zone or he's worse in man, one of those. And I'm hoping that we just utilize him correctly, and he's got that high pick sort of reputation going for him. He was third overall, so maybe we can tap into some of that potential that everyone saw in him, which is the reason why he was a lottery pick, and we can sort of get him to flourish in D'Amico's system. But other than that, not a whole lot to say. Let's just hope that he can stay healthy and do a great job here. I think he's pretty cheap, so that's what's most important.
Yeah, man, I agree. He obviously has not at all lived up to his draft status. He is what most people would say a bust. I can't argue with that. He was a third pick overall in the 2020 draft. He has been fairly healthy. I know injuries kind of held him back a little bit with the Lions, and that's why he went to the Falcons. But he played 13 games last year. He allowed 32 catches and 494 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 pass breakups. He's not a guy that's going to start for you. He's going to fight for a spot with us. Depending on what D'Amico has in mind, if they, think about bringing back Nelson, or if they think about signing Xavier Howard, or even extending a deal out to a Stephon Gilmore. I mean, I would love that. Jeff Okudah has a lot to learn in this league. I don't think he obviously, like we said before, hasn't lived up to his draft status. I would be shocked if he's playing alongside Derek Stingley as a cornerback too. I don't know how you feel about that. I just don't see it happening.
I could see us moving him to safety personally. I mean, we'll see what happens. I know it's hard to move positions. It's like you use your right hand your whole life, and then all of a sudden you switch to your left hand, like it's completely different. But like I could see us doing something crazy like that.
Yeah, yeah. Me and you talked about that briefly this week. I do think that that's a possibility. I don't see him starting, and the reason I say that is I've read a lot of reports that he is going to fight for a spot. Um, Training camp, he's a guy to look for. If he might be a cut candidate early. If he can't beat out these guys, I like him because he's 4 million. We got him for a year for 4 million. Like you said, he's low risk, high reward. I hope D'Amico can bring it out of him, but I wouldn't. As to all Texans fan, I wouldn't expect this guy to step in and be the shutdown corner we all thought he would be back in 2020. But he's good depth for sure. He's 25 years old, by the way. Like, he's young. He's a young guy. So there's a lot of untapped potential, I do believe. I don't think he'll start, but we'll see. We'll see where this season takes us. So our next one is Tim Settle. I believe we got him yesterday after the Eric Armstead deal fell through. I would have loved Eric Armstead. I would have loved that pick.
He was the Titans, right? Or Jags?
No, he went to the Jags.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, ooh.
And we're going to talk a little bit more in the future about things like record predictions and stuff. But just know now that Texans aren't the only ones who loaded up this offseason. The Jags and the Titans made a lot of moves. I think for the most part they improved their rosters. Some moves I didn't really understand. But I think it's going to be a dogfight in the AFC South because, Titans get someone like Tony Pollard, Eric Armstead, and Calvin Ridley. And, they're looking a little feisty. I think Levis kind of limits their ceiling a little bit, but we'll see. Jags made some good moves too. Retained Josh Allen, obviously. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And at the end of this video, we want to ask a question about the AFC South that hopefully y'all can leave some comments and we can have some debates. We would love to talk about it. We will respond. We will text back in the comments. We love talking football. That's our thing, as you can tell. So yeah, Tim Settle I think is a good pickup. I don't know if he'll start. I do think he's good depth if he's not going to start. Good rotational piece. We're going to talk about this guy later, but as we all know, Malik Collins did get traded, and I do think that this guy will kind of fill those shoes to an extent. He was available all year. 17 games played, 14 tackles, 1 sack. Not really that sexy, but he's an interior D lineman. What are you going to do?
He's a rotational guy, and we lost Collins and we lost Sheldon Rankins, so I think this was a sensible pickup. I don't love losing both Collins and Rankins. I was hoping we keep one of them, but if we're replacing him with someone who Caserio and D'Amico believe in and think that he has that swarm mentality and locker room presence, I'm cool with it. So
yeah, I agree. In Caserio, we trust, like we'll say all the time.
That's right.
We're going to go to our next guy. This guy's a little controversial, Texans fans. Lonnie Johnson. Oh, Lonnie, he's back home.
He's back.
A couple years back. The reason he's gone, it's not all the reason. He's not very good to begin with, but he loved to argue with Texans fans. He would always respond on Twitter. He would argue. He would just – and by the way, this is the O'Brien era. We were falling apart. We were a poverty franchise, as people would say.
It was the O'Brien era, but I think it was Caserio who still had the helmet GM, and he left pretty unceremoniously. Like it wasn't great. So but
2013 was when he was here, and then he towards the end of his stint here, it was 2021. So Caserio was here. I think that might have been Dave Culley era actually.
Head coach.
That was Culley. I think that was Culley. But guys, he is he's depth. He's a special teamer, especially when he was with the Saints. He was a special teams guy, played 12 games last year. He had 9 tackles. I mean, he's not going to start. I can guarantee it. He's not going to start. And Mark, since we're on Lonnie Johnson, because he's a safety corner, he's all the above on defense. And we can, if you don't want to do this right now, we can do it towards the end of the video, but we haven't seen any moves from Casario with Jimmy Ward yet. And I'm kind of just wondering, what do you think is his plan with him? Because for me, I thought it was release him, but I feel like if you're going to release him, you would have already done it.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I would like to talk about this now. I'm not sure if it's gonna cost more to release him now versus in the future. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. To be honest, I'm still a little unclear about that.
it
I'm
would
sure
free
it's
up
structured
money.
into
It wouldn't
contracts.
cost as much.
What's up?
It would free up money. It wouldn't cost as much as it would.
Yeah,
If
but I don't know if it's like a post June 1st designated cut or something like that. If it saves money, I don't really know. It might not even be in his contract at all. I think there is a decent chance Jimmy Ward stays. I know Texans fans have been absolutely pounding the table for him to be cut to clear up some room. But he's one of D'Amico's boys. Like he came over with D'Amico, and I think D'Amico really likes him. And I think you're right. Like if he hasn't been cut by now, there's a pretty good chance he's going to stay. I don't hate it. I think Jimmy Ward's a good ball player, and he's great depth. Like he's a good starter still, in my opinion. He just can't stay healthy. So if he can stay healthy and we end up keeping him, Casario and D'Amico look like geniuses. But yeah, I agree that if Ward hasn't been cut by now, he'll probably stay. And Lonnie Johnson, by the way, at 6 is a little high. I know you didn't have this in any particular order, but I'd rather talk about Okudah than Lonnie Johnson because you're right. He's not gonna be a huge factor on this team.
Yeah, these aren't in numerical order and by any means.
yeah.
They're just a list. This is just a list.
I figured I like him at 6 though. It's
Top
spicy.
5 are the top 5. I will say that the top 5 are definitely the top 5 free agents we got for sure. Well, maybe Tommy Townsend. He's probably up there.
Tommy Townsend should be number 1 or 2 for sure.
Yeah. I agree, man. I don't know. I think when it comes to Jimmy Ward, I was super disappointed. I mean, the year was just a disappointment, and there's no other word. He was not a factor for us like we thought he would be. When he was on the field, he did good. He won us the game in Denver. I'm not going to say he did. He got the last interception, which sealed the game, but the defense played great. He made a good play, which he's supposed to do. That's his job. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to make those plays all the time because he was hurt. And like we say, availability is the best ability. And if you can't be available, we don't need you. And the safety market, especially now, Justin Simmons is a free agent. Quandre Diggs is a free agent. Like, these are good safeties.
I like
and
both of them.
We still have Jalen Petrie. I know he might not play coverage safety this year. I think he might get his position changed to nickel. But, Jimmy Ward did come out with a nutrition book. They said he's having a new diet. He might be healthier this year.
That's like when Arian Foster became a vegan. Like it's right. Going downhill.
Bobby Pino. He's changing to Bobby Pino.
Oh God, Arian
yeah,
Foster.
man, but I don't know. I hope Jimmy. I wish him the best, even if it is with us or without us. But I do hope if he is with us this year, I hope he can stay healthy and play like he would.
Yeah, I'm gonna root for him.
I do like Jimmy Ward as a person. I think he's a great guy. So
yeah.
So Mike Ford Jr. He was a corner with Cleveland last year. That cornerback room, as we know, they're dogs. They got Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, 2 really talented corners, and this guy played alongside him. We didn't see much of Ford against us, but he did play a lot during the year. When you have Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome ahead of you, you're going to get kind of you're not going to get as much time to show off your abilities. That's why he came here. We don't have that great of a cornerback room right now. We only have Derek Stingley at the moment. So, Mark, what do you think about this pickup, given that he came from the Browns and knowing that their defense was as good as it was with the cornerback room that was there?
I mean, I think it's a solid pickup. He's another guy. I think we signed like 3 corners. He's another guy who's not going to be our starting corner across from Derek Stingley. But I will say, I think it's a huge perk that he spent 2023 in practice across from the GOAT, Joe Flacco. Probably got a lot of good reps in there. I think quarterback number 2 for them
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
That's right. I was drawing a blank. Thank you. And I don't think they have a third quarterback. But yeah, Mike Ford Jr., good signing. Hopefully, I mean, yeah, hopefully he can be a good piece along with Jeff Okuda, because I think they could be very solid rotational pieces. It makes me think, and especially after we got someone like Tim Settle, who is a really strong rotational guy, that we might go corner with our first pick, which is no longer in the first round. And we're going to talk about that later. But I think we could go corner D tackle in the second round. Very possible. So we'll see.
Right.
Good rotational piece. No more rotational guys after this. Let's get into the starters. I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, guys. So the top 5, man, this is what dreams are made of, really. We upgraded every position you're about to see. So number 4, we have Danico Autry. And if anybody watched the Tennessee Titans games, you know this guy's name. He got after CJ multiple times. He is a beast. He is 33 years old, by the way. Played 17 games, 50 total tackles, 11 and a half sacks. Mark, he is a D tackle. He is also a D end. He can play the edge. He's not going to in this defense. I can almost guarantee it. But most of his snaps was D tackle. And at 11 and a half sacks, man, that is unbelievable. He's 33. And 2 forced fumbles. Oh, my gosh. We got a beast, guys. And
I was just going to say, I think it's so exciting to imagine Danico Autry in between Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. Like, just that alone, and the fact that if Will Anderson or Hunter needs to, like, take a break or like, their snap count isn't going to be 100% every game, right, you can just slot this guy in at edge. And that's a huge advantage that we're going to have. This dude at D tackle with our 2 bookends collapsing the pocket, it's exciting. Awesome signing. I really liked it. I like the 2-year deal. He's an older vet, but we're doing all these 2-year deals so that when CJ gets to his contract year, or maybe the year before, that we can afford to give him an extension. So I think this was a really smart move.
I agree. We had 3 of our 4 starting D linemen last year leave us. We will talk about them later, but I will say because we're going to save that for later, Danico Autry, in my opinion, is going to replace Sheldon Rankins, and he is an immediate upgrade. Without a doubt, he's an immediate upgrade. Stats don't lie. At 11 and a half sacks, immediate. That's all I need.
Think Rankins had – I know sacks aren't everything. Like, run stopping super important when you're a defensive tackle, but I think Rankins had like 2.5 sacks, 1.5. It was something really low, which isn't bad. Once again, I think Sheldon Rankins is a great ball player, but I think it's also important. Like, it's difficult when you have good players at a position, but Caserio and D'Amico understand that we need great players at those positions. So it hurts to get rid of Rankins and Collins, but as long as we're upgrading them with guys like Danico Autry, like, that's the right move. So I'm all for it.
Most definitely. We haven't replaced Malik Collins yet. Maybe, I guess you could say Tim Settle, but we're going to aim a little higher. I think they'll aim for that in the draft. That's neither here nor there. Danico Autry is a great pickup and an immediate upgrade.
I can already tell you that Danico, Daniil, and D'Amico is going to mess up my head, dude. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah. So here's a special one and this is special for Mark, and I will tell you why. If you watched our last video, we both made a list of free agents that we wanted. I, unfortunately, didn't get any of my wishes because they were already gone by day 1. Thank God Mark had Azeez Al-Shaair on his list, and we got him. He is a terrific linebacker. He, like we said in the last video, he was with D'Amico and the 49ers. He didn't play that much. It's hard to play when you got Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw in front of you. But, man, did he make his name known with the Tennessee Titans. 17 games played, 163 total tackles, 2 sacks. Okay, this guy led his team in tackles, and I believe he was 5th in the league in tackles, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He is a threat. He's a run stopper, and he's quick. Here is a guy like we just talked about with Danico, who replaced Sheldon Rankins. He will replace Blake Cashman. And I don't know about you, Mark, but immediate upgrade. He is an immediate upgrade from Blake Cashman. Cashman had a great year in his contract year. He got paid a stupid amount of money. I love you, Blake Cashman, but I'm going to say overpaid. I think he got $26 million. Okay, he had
It was
one.
2 years though. What was? Hold on, I'm looking up Cashman's contract
Yeah.
because if I'm not mistaken, I didn't think Cashman's contract was that crazy. I think not Danico Autry, Aziz Al-Shaair is getting paid something similar.
He's getting paid at 3 for 36 or 3 for 34. One of those.
Sorry, I looked up stats instead of
which is about $12 million a year. Aziz Al-Shaair is a difference maker on defense. I think when you look at this linebacker group, I don't believe Aziz Al-Shaair is a sideline to sideline linebacker. I think he can get out there if someone's running on the outside. That's what we have Christian Harris for, though. Christian Harris is a sideline to sideline linebacker, and that's why I don't know about you, but I love Patrick Queen. I love him. I think he would have been terrific with us, but I kind of like this because now you have one guy who's going to stuff the inside, and you have a guy that can go sideline to sideline, get you the interceptions, match up with a tight end with Christian Harris. We don't need two sideline to sideline linebackers. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, even the Ravens, Roquan Smith isn't sideline to sideline. That's a big guy, but he can stuff the run, and Patrick Queen could protect against the pass, and that's what our Christian Harris is. I'm not going to say he's our Patrick Queen because Christian Harris is Christian Harris, and I want to see him go crazy this year alongside Aziz Al-Shaair. And you can give your opinion, Mark. I'm sorry I rambled a little bit. But.
No, you're good, dude. Yeah, I would argue that Christian Harris was our most improved player last year. You can obviously say, oh, well, Stroud over the course of the season, or maybe you want to give it to Nico Collins because he broke out. But Christian Harris, from where he started to where he ended, I can't. Was he benched or was he almost benched? It was something like that. He was coming off injury. I think he got his snap count reduced, and he ended the year with his hair on fire. I mean, the dude was a beast. Like he was like boxing one defense in basketball. He's your and one. He's the guy who's going to take on the X factor on the other team. So having a guy like Aziz Al-Shaair, Cashman was more of our coverage guy, but having Al-Shaair who can really be a run stopper, since we ended up showing that as one of our weaknesses toward the end of the year, even though we were so good about it the entire year. That's going to be huge for us. So I was really psyched about this signing. Obviously, I think I had him at number 3 also in my free agent list. And yeah, I'm pretty psyched about it, and I love taking someone away from the Titans too. Love that.
Yeah, man, we got Danico and Shaair from the Titans. It's amazing. So this next guy is not controversial in any way, but it is kind of brings up question on what priorities were in day one. My next guy, the guy that we just got, Joe Mixon, immediate upgrade from from Devin Singletary. In my opinion, they can argue all they want. He is definitely better than Devin Singletary. He's a 1,000-yard rusher. Okay, that's all you really need to know about that one. Devin Singletary, I do think would have been had he been starting all year, but he wasn't. And he's also a threat in the backfield, receiving. He's a receiving back, and he can also run the ball. Today he did get extended, or was it yesterday, Mark?
I think it was yesterday, and it was 3-year, $27 million with like $13.5 million guaranteed. I think it was something like that, which I was not psyched about, but the guaranteed money is really low, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah. So with Joe Mixon, you're getting a 1,000-yard rusher. He has been in the league since 2017, and he has 4 1,000-yard seasons. I mean, that's a really good running back, man. Last year, he played all 17 games. The year before that was 14. The year before that was 16. 2020, he went down with, I believe, a leg injury of some sort, maybe a muscle tear. I don't know. He
And I
only
think the
played.
reason, oh, I'm sorry. I think the reason why he played 14 last year, if I'm not mistaken, was because he was suspended for that domestic violence, or was it just like aggravated assault? I can't remember what it was. He
Yeah,
had some sort of off the field issue.
yeah, some sort of off-field issue. I know that there's been some national media talking about that. Guys, we're here to talk. I know Mark just said it just to let you know the context behind not playing as many games. We're here to talk about Joe Mixon, the football player. I have no opinion on. I don't know the whole story. I wasn't. I do know that he was suspended for something along the lines of fighting or something like that. But that's not what this channel is about. We're here to talk about him as a football player, and now that he's with the Houston Texans, um, he's our running back, and he will be starting for us. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about these stats. He has been available his whole career. 2020, he played 6 games, and I believe it was due to an injury. I think it was a leg injury, like a tear of some sort or something like that.
I'll look it up real
Um,
quick.
yeah, and he can also catch the ball and make something happen. Last year, he had almost 400 receiving yards. The year before that, he had about 450. So, those are great numbers for a guy, for great numbers for any running back. And not only that, but a running back coming to a team that needs a running back bad. Mark, I don't know about you, man, but when Monday rolled around and we hadn't gotten Saquon yet, I was shocked. I honestly thought that once it started, we were getting him. And whenever he got off, whenever I saw DeAndre Swift, whenever I saw Pollard, whenever I saw, you know, um, Josh Jacobs, I
Yeah,
saw all these
Jacobs.
running backs going off the board. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, Casario, what are you doing? And I remember I texted Mark. I didn't have a good feeling. And then when Saquon got off the board, we were on the phone together, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And then it makes me think, well, what is his priorities? Man, he made that up real quick because the next day he traded a 7th round pick for Joe Mixon, which is basically free because we got one the next day after that for Malik Collins. Um, so, what do you think about Joe Mixon, Mark? I know besides the extension, I wouldn't think about that too much because this year we do still have him under that one extra year he had on his other deal. So, what do you think about Joe Mixon, the running back?
I have some thoughts. I'm excited about Joe Mixon. I'm not as high on him as a lot of other Texans fans are. I remember I was at the airport and I got that news while I was on the phone with you. I was like, "You're not gonna be happy, Nathan." when Saquon went to the Eagles, I was disappointed too. Obviously, we both had him on our number one free agent targets last episode. So I think Casario got outbidded, and I think that this was more of a scramble to correct move. I don't want to give Casario credit on every move and say, wow, he's working his magic and all of his number one options are working out, because that just isn't realistic. But, obviously Joe Mixon was designated for release, and then we scrambled to trade a 7th rounder, and it's an obvious accept for the Bengals so that they don't get nothing for him. So, of course, they're going to take that. But do I think he's an upgrade over Singletary? Yeah. Do I think he is an upgrade in the run game? Not as much, but in the receiving game, he is a big upgrade. The dude finds the end zone. So I think that's a huge perk. I think he's a lot older. Is he 20? He's 27, if I'm not mistaken. So he's on the older side. This contract has him going through his age 30 year, which is ancient for a running back. So I'm not thrilled, but I am excited, and I would love it if Joe Mixon goes crazy this year. I think it's possible. I think that he could definitely have a huge year, and I think he's going to be instrumental as a check down option for Stroud too. But I'm not sitting here and saying, "Oh, all hail Casario," because we got a huge upgrade at running back. I think this was just a good move. It wasn't great, and it may not be the best thing for us. So we'll see. I think we have to grab a running back with like a really late round pick, regardless, just that we have a third running back behind Pierce and Mixon. But I do think they could be a really explosive combo. So
Yeah, man, for sure. Like I told you earlier in the week, this was without a doubt a desperation move. Joe Mixon got traded because Casario couldn't get in another bidding war. Um, and I do want to shout Casario out. I think that him not getting in a bidding war for that high of a price for Saquon was the best decision he's made. Very underrated decision. I know a lot of people think that, oh, well, it's only $15 million, guys. Like, cap space is huge. You have to think that we have to pay Nico Collins next year. We have to pay Stroud in a couple years. You know, he's going to be up for an extension in a couple years, and Tank, and all Christian Harris, and Derek Stingley. We can't afford to pay a running back $15 million a year. It's not realistic. Um, I do like that we extended Mixon because if he has a breakout year, he's going to demand more than what he just got. So the market's only going to go up for players, and that goes for the running back market as well. We saw that with Saquon already; it's going up. I don't necessarily agree with the whole age thing too much. I know Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon are different running backs, but Derrick Henry is already 30, I believe. Um, he's already 30 years old, and he just got a really $8 million a year with the Ravens. I think Mixon still has a lot left in the tank. I think we just need to utilize him right because we saw last year that utilizing the running back is one of our weaknesses. Um, so I just hope Mixon can prove everyone right because I feel like most part we all think that he will do good. He is still a top tier running back in this league, and that's without a doubt.
Yeah,
So
I will say, like, comparing Derrick Henry to Joe Mixon, one of them is a Hall of Famer and the other isn't.
right.
But yeah, I agree. You know, Derrick Henry is 3 years older than Joe Mixon, so that's a good call. I think after Saquon went, I'm pretty sure Saquon went before Henry, almost certain.
He did.
Yeah, he did. A lot of people were like, "All right, Derrick Henry's the guy," or like Josh Jacobs is the guy when we weren't making an immediate move. And so you know what? Like, I'm cool with it. Maybe he wasn't a free agent if I'm not mistaken, right? They released him.
They were
So
going to release because they got Zach Moss from the Colts.
yeah. So I think that Casario, everyone found out about the Joe Mixon release pretty late into the, or it wasn't immediately known right before free agency. It may have been suspected, but I think maybe Casario saw that and he was like, now hold on, like if we get outbid, I'm not gonna make a push like the Eagles did to get their division rival angry. I think that's why the Eagles got Henry. Like obviously, I mean, I'm sorry, Barkley. Obviously, Barkley's a great player, but I think they love to take him away from the Giants. So yeah, maybe Casario saw this and was like, this is a great option for us, and we can fall back on this.
It is for sure. Yeah, the only other options was Henry and Aaron Jones, and once Aaron Jones went to the Vikings, it was game over. He
That's
had to
also
make.
pretty spicy. I like Jones to the Vikings going away from the Packers.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, like we said, Casario had to make a decision quick, and he made his decision, and I'm happy with it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So moving on to our last guy, our number one guy, everyone knows who we got, Daniil Hunter. Man, when we talk about upgrade at every position, man, when we lost Bernard, I didn't really think we were in the running for Daniil Hunter. At least I didn't. I thought we were going to go with like a Clowney or a Chase Young. We talked about that last on our last episode. Um, but man, you talk about a guy. 17 games he played last year, 83 total tackles, 16 and a half sacks. Oh man!
Dude's a
And by the
beast.
oh yeah, I mean absolutely a beast. Daniil Hunter is he got a huge contract. He got well, there were reports, I don't know if you heard it, but there was reports that he was getting upwards of $28 million offers, and he took a pay cut to come to Houston. So
I'm
this
not
is
sure. I think that may be because the guaranteed money was so high because our contract was almost fully guaranteed. So maybe it was like upward of 28 mil, but like 12 mil to 15 mil was guaranteed. I'm not sure. But he proved me wrong because at the end of last season or 2022, he sort of had a down year. And I think it was because of injury, if I'm not mistaken, possibly performance too.
I
But
think you're
uh,
2021.
2021. Okay, I thought it was 22, but one of those years, the Vikings gave him a prove it deal after that, and I thought he was done. Personally, I thought he might be done. Like he might have a decent year, but the dude exploded. Like he erupted. 16 and a half sacks is no joke. And the idea of him being across from Will Anderson Jr. is pretty damn exciting. So I think there's a really good chance that we're going to have 2 10-plus sack edge rushers.
Totally agree, man. And also that other stat is forced fumbles, 4 forced fumbles along with those 16 and a half sacks. I mean, the dude's just a beast. By the way, he's been in the league since 2015. So he's been in the league for about 8 seasons. 5 of those seasons he's had double-digit sacks. And here's the difference, and I will tell you. Jonathan Grenard just got a 4-year, $72 million deal.
Yeah,
well,
right.
I love Jonathan Grenard. I love him. We've had him since he's been in the league. But he had 1 year with 12 and a half sacks, and then it happened to be his contract year. Danielle Hunter has proven year and year and year and year that he can get double-digit sacks. 5 out of his 8 seasons, he's had double-digit sacks. Grenard has had it once, maybe twice. I don't remember if he had it twice that 1 year. I think he did, and I don't think he did. I think he only had it one time. So if you're telling me that I get to pay Danielle Hunter $6 million more a year for a bona fide edge rusher in this league that is proven to be one of the top 3 edge rushers in the league, I will happily pay it. I don't think the guaranteed money is a big deal, only because we got him for 2 years. He'll be 31 when this deal's over. That's Caserio did this for a reason. He knew that. He knew that he'll be 31 at the end of this deal. And he knows that $24 million for Danielle Hunter is a steal. So,
I agree. And I think, although I do believe that Jonathan Grenard, I still think his ceiling's high. I think he's got a high ceiling. Like, don't make any mistake. But this was the right move because he did have one good year, and it's a year where Will Anderson Jr. had a very high double team rate as well. So I think it was a great move. Another 2-year deal to make sure Stroud gets paid. I'm all for it. It's exciting. It's definitely going to be a move that sells jerseys too. I might get a Danielle Hunter jersey, and he already told JJ that he's taking 55. So no stress there whatsoever.
Yep. So that was our list. We have a couple more things to go over. We're going to talk about who left the Texans. So there's a couple players that we have. Obviously, we have Jonathan Grenard. Mark, I think it's the consensus that we're okay with the decision, especially now that we have Danielle Hunter. I'm happy for Jonathan Grenard. I'm happy he got paid. Good luck to him in Minnesota. I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, same here. And I'm just now realizing we left Cam Johnston off the list and probably some others. But, hey, we're not experts, so the stakes are really low. Yeah, I agree. Grenard gone. Singletary gone on the Giants now. Good luck to him. I hope he does well. I like Singletary. I just know that he's going to hate playing with Daniel Jones instead of CJ Stroud because man, dude, those Giants – I don't know. I don't understand how teams don't see that. When you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, he is Davis Mills. Okay, you do not give the guy 40 mil. And why are you running it back with him? You have to cut ties. You have to eat that loss, like the Broncos are right now with Russell Wilson. It's a different situation, but it's not. The Broncos. Everyone's obviously. It's easy to make fun of them because they're eating like $83 million in dead cap. But that was the right move. You have to get him out of there, get a fresh start, clean slate. And I just wish the Giants would do that. Best of luck to Singletary, man. I know that he's going to miss CJ Stroud in that pocket instead.
For sure. Yeah. Guys, I think, honestly, for the rest of this list, good luck, Cashman. Good luck, Rankins. Good luck, Collins. Cashman, best of luck to you, man. You did great. You got it back. I love it. I love seeing these guys get money.
I do, too. I love seeing our Texans grow up and get some money. That didn't happen for the last few years. It's nice.
Yeah, I love it. Sheldon Rankins got a great deal. I think he got a good amount of money. I think he
Like
got a really good amount of money.
12?
Yeah,
8 to 12? I don't know.
which is good. We weren't going to give him that. That's fine. Best of luck to you, Sheldon, with the Bengals. That's a great team to go to. Malik Collins, it could have been worse. You could have got traded anywhere else. You got traded to the team that just got out of a Super Bowl. So, like, it could have been worse. Best of luck to you, Malik. He did a great job when he was with us. Again, like I said, all these guys were great with us, and I wish them the best. I do want to bring up a point real quick. Jonathan Grenard, according to Aaron Wilson today, said that he did not even receive an offer from the Texans. How do you feel about that? Because I have something to say about that, I think.
How do I feel about that? Well, I was going to bring up that 3 of those 5 people are defensive linemen, and 4 of them are defensive guys. But Grenard not getting an offer is interesting. I'm assuming that he knew he wouldn't. I'm assuming Caserio would let him know, and it seemed like he already did know based on some of his like exit interview stuff. It really seemed like he knew he was going to test free agency and all that. So I don't really have a strong opinion on it. I don't think it's a big drama point.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a big drama point either. With a guy who performed like that, I just feel like he would have gotten an offer. I do disagree with that decision, not at least extending him something. But I will say I do believe Caserio heard a number and they were just way too far apart. I think Caserio didn't believe in $19 million a year. He believed more in the $14 million a year, which makes sense. And he knew that he wasn't going to get anywhere, and it's okay. Like we said, we wish him the best. He got his bag. I just I think he should have gotten an offer. But he did say that there was no official offer made to him. But it's okay. We
Yeah.
moved on. We got Daniil Hunter, and there's nothing to complain about.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you know you're that far apart, the last thing you want to do is piss him off with a low ball offer. I think it was fine. I don't think Grenard has anything against the Texans, and he even, if I'm not mistaken, he made some sort of message letting everyone know that he was really thankful for the organization, and he's going to go become a very wealthy person. So I think he's fine.
No, he made that clear today. He said to the McNairs that he has no ill will feelings, nothing. So all good.
Come back for your 3rd contract, man. Come back for your 3rd contract.
Yeah,
Let's see it.
Exactly. Our last point, and we might just go over a few little things, but our last point that we had today was really just the news came out today that we traded our 1st round pick. Pretty upsetting at first. Now looking at it, we're 9 spots away from the 2nd round, and you still got another 2nd this year. You have another 6th. Is that a 6th round pick? 188.
I think that is a 6th rounder, unless there's some compensatory picks and stuff. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so we got another 6th, and we have another 2nd next year, guys. I think it was a good deal. I do think now they know that they're not going to get one of those top prospects at D tackle or corner. They know that. But he could also be setting up a trade. You never know with Caserio. This guy, he loves getting capital and then trading it away. He does it best. And he's also a terrific scouter. I mean, he can scout talent no matter what round they're in. So, like we said, we believe in Caserio, and I think whatever decision he makes, I'll agree with. Whatever.
Scouting is definitely Casario's strength, overwhelming strength. I have a couple of things to say about this. First off is the Texans have been making a lot of cap room in the last couple of days, and I think they're going to extend Nico Collins. That's just what I feel. Maybe we sign someone. I think one of 2 things will happen for sure is we will extend Nico Collins or we will sign a safety such as Justin Simmons, Quandre Diggs, or a lot of rumblings that Stephon Diggs and the Texans have been talking. I don't like it personally, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because chatter's just chatter. I think that Nico's going to get his extension. And I think it's a good time too because Nico is. I think you agree with me on this. He is a wide receiver 1. The dude's a beast. You can see it. You can just see it every game. You can rely on him. His drop rate's low. He reminds me a little bit of D-Hop and a little bit of Andre Johnson because he's a big dude. He's got a nice frame, and he's deadly when he goes deep, and he's deadly in the slot. So I think you got to get that extension done. Another thing I'll say is a lot of people, and I'm not making some sort of expert analysis when I say this. I'm getting this secondhand, but a lot of quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tackles in the first round, a lot of them. And those aren't positions of need for the Texans. So it's going to push a lot of maybe defensive tackles and maybe secondary players down. So I think that we knew that, and like, hey, let's clear up some cap room with this move, because I think we cleared up like $5 or $6 million just by this trade. And let's also have 2 second rounders and a second rounder for next year. And let's use the second rounders on some areas of need where we still feel like we can get one of the top prospects. So I don't hate it. And then obviously, last point, Caserio is an absolute wizard with these late picks. I like that he's moving up to 188 as well, because we've gotten a lot of late round guys who have made a huge impact. I could sit here and list them. There's like probably 6 to 8 active Texans who are making a big impact on our team that Caserio is drafted after the second round. So I'm all for it. And I think it's going to be nice to have an extra second rounder next year too, because who do we make this trade with again? Who was it?
Minnesota.
Vikings. We did so much. Like, dude, Vikings and Texans were really active together.
We just swapped.
Yeah, we really did. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be an amazing team. So I think that second rounder is going to be pretty high next year. Not crazy high. And now that the Bears have gotten people like Keenan Allen, and obviously they have a ton of draft capital, and they're probably going to get either Caleb or Marvin Harrison, one of them. I think they and the Packers are going to be first and second in that division, not necessarily in that order. So that second rounder could be pretty valuable next year. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So one more thing, guys. And by the way, I know this video is a little longer. We had a lot of stuff to go over, but we love doing this. We love talking about the Texans, and we want to keep doing this and, talk about these guys and talk about the team that we grew up watching, that we love with all of our hearts. We just have a couple questions for you guys. If y'all, just leave a comment down below, subscribe to, like the video, let us know that you're enjoying the content. We love to do this. What do the Texans need next? That could mean, what do you think that, is a position of need? Do you think we need another, what position should we target? Is there specific players that you want to see come to Houston? Is there a specific player in the draft you want to see come to Houston? How do you think we should address this D-tackle void? I do believe it is a void, only because I don't think Tim Settle is the answer to Malik Collins leaving.
I think we have 2 defensive tackles right now, basically, because Tyre Tart's out the door.
We got the guy from Jacksonville, Fadu.
Oh yeah, I can't pronounce his name.
He's a run stuffer. I know that. But guys? What do you think we need? Anything? Do you think we need a receiver? Do you think we should address that in the draft? Do you think we should address that now? There's not too much talent left on the board, really good talent, and there's DJ Chark and guys like that. But
a lot of secondary guys, I will say. A lot of people in the secondary still.
Just let us know what you think. Mark, what do you think we need?
I think we need the season to start, bro. I'm ready to watch some Texans again. It's a long time until football. So what is it, March 15th? Yeah, we got some months ahead of us. But what do we need? I think we need to hit some draft picks. I think that's really it at this point, because we made a lot of free agency moves. Let's get some good second rounders. I mean, we've done well in the second round in the past. Most notably, I'm trying to think, Jalen Petrie. And I know that a lot of people are down on him. I still think he has a really high ceiling. And I think that D'Amico's that kind of guy who's going to address what he'd be best at, and he's going to make those adjustments for next year. But I think we need to hit some draft picks. And I think we need to – and I think we are doing this, but I think we need to stop being in the mentality that we need first rounders. We have a lot of people, a lot of premier positions that are now filled, and we're paying heavily. And so I think it's okay to trade away first rounders as long as you're getting some good depth pieces, because at the end of the day, in that game versus the Ravens, that's what set us apart, is they had the depth and we didn't. We had some decent depth, but due to things like injuries and just overall talent, I mean, it was our first year rebounding like that. We need some good depth pieces. So I would love to see us get some talented rookies in positions of need. Maybe even get a receiver. I don't want to wait too long for a receiver, but I also would like to hit at least 2 defensive positions first. So let's just hit some draft picks and get some depth.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree with almost everything you said, except I really need to see the secondary get built up a little bit. To see I need to see some signings, man. If I want to feel good about this season, especially before the draft, I want to see Quandre. I want to see Justin Simmons. I don't care if it's both. If you get both and then you release Jimmy Ward, great. It won't be both. Just letting everyone know that. That would be way too expensive. There would be no money to extend Nico Collins, so
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen. But I do want to see. Um, Something along those lines. I don't think you necessarily have to get Justin Simmons, but I do think you need to get a guy somewhat close to his caliber. Because, we talked about this too, Mark. I don't think you can rely on the draft to have a starting safety or starting corner or things like that.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
We should have vets that can show these guys what's up. Because I don't think Jalen Petrie will be there next year. I don't think he will be at the safety position. He will be. I do really believe he'll be playing nickel. That's what he should be playing. That's what he played at Baylor. That's why we got him, and now we see why we got him there. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Real quick, I agree, but I do think it's okay to have second rounders starting. Maybe not later in the draft, but when we're talking about who's going to start opposite of Derek Stingley, I think it could be our second round pick, like one of those two guys. But I totally agree that we need to bring in another safety. I don't like the idea of banking on Jimmy Ward being a starter next year. I'm really opposed to that, and I think Steven Nelson's out the door too, unless we can get him on a friendly deal, which he doesn't seem like the type of player who would do that. I'm not saying he's selfish or anything, but the dude wants reps. He wants to be. I think he's the kind of guy who would rather be a starter on a bad team than a rotational guy on a good team. So that's just the facts.
Yeah, I agree. And if the Texans want to be a championship contender, we need to upgrade at every position. And bringing back Steven Nelson is not an upgrade. I'm sorry, he's over 30. Jimmy Ward is also over 30. You need to get a younger guy. Even if that, like you said, if that means drafting somebody and getting him there, that is sometimes a better option. These young guys, man, look at Xavier Worthy. He ran a 4.21. That is crazy. These guys can keep up with these receivers. They are tall, they're huge, they're fast. I don't mind seeing a rookie on the other side of Derek Stingley. I don't mind seeing a rookie at safety, but we need crazy veteran depth. And if you're going to do that. But guys, we have a blast talking about this team. We are very appreciative for everyone who's been watching. We just started this and we want to keep going. Just please subscribe to our channel, Texans Junkies, and leave a comment. Please comment. We would love to respond to you guys. Please like the video, and we will try to put out more content, especially when we see the need for it. After this free agency, this is why this episode went a little longer, because we had so much to talk about and we love it. So,
half our team's different, man. Our team's different. And we got a lot of stuff coming up for y'all too. We got let me just read some of the stuff. Fictional trades we want to see, breakout candidates. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to make our bold predictions for the year. Nathan already knows my bold prediction. I think he disagrees with it, but that's what we want. We want some good content. We want some debate. So just stay tuned. We'll have another episode out soon. We're going to be very busy at times. But that's a good thing, because you're going to get quality every episode, not necessarily quantity. So stay tuned for our next one and take it easy.
Yeah, guys, we appreciate it. Subscribe. See y'all later.